It's Monday, January 4th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is presented by Jet HomeLoans. And now, the real reason anyone would want to work here, J.P. Shadrick.
Thank you very much, and welcome to Jaguars Happy Hour for the final time on a Monday in the 2020 season. My name's J.P. Shadrick, and we've got a show for you today. It is the final day that we'll have Tony Boselli and Pete Prisco together on this program, our final Monday program presented by Jet HomeLoans. We'll get their thoughts on Shad Khan speaking with the media earlier today. Doug Marone fired this morning. The general manager and the head coach positions are now open for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll go through each of those and what they have to offer and where they rank around the National Football League. Social media questions came in hot and heavy today, and we'll go around the NFL and the NFL playoffs, in fact, that start next week. Let's start with today's news. The Jaguars, of course, yesterday lost in Week 17, their 15th consecutive loss to wrap up the 2020 regular season. And about 14 hours later, Jags owner Shad Khan announced the dismissal of head coach Doug Marone in a statement. He thanked him for his grit and his work over the years here in 4+ seasons with the Jacksonville Jaguars, but said it was time to make a full change on the football operations side of things. About an hour and a half after that announcement today, Khan spoke with the media on a video conference to chart the course for the future of the franchise, including the quarterback position, the GM and head coach searches, and much more. And he started with the flow chart for the new hires moving ahead.
A key thing how, we would be structuring this is that I'm going to have the general manager and the head coach report directly to me. And that way, really, you have the transparency and the needs and the concerns of both parties without really getting filtered or having a chain of command. So, and that's really what necessitates that you basically hire them about the same time. And really, you have a perfect alignment, which you need in a winning organization.
Shad Khan earlier today, the full visit on Jaguars.com right now. We'll hear a little more later in the show from the Jaguars owner, and Tony Boselli and Pete Prisco join us now for reaction. Guys, good afternoon. Pete, a lot of news today.
Tony, what about JP saying this is the last time we're going to be together? Do you know something that we don't know about next year, just in case?
This season.
I think we're getting canned.
Is that what he's saying? JP's making decisions?
No, I'm not. I said this season.
I think after the show, you and I are being called in for a meeting saying, we appreciate your services. It was a great show, but we won't be seeing you guys back next year.
Well, that might depend on who gets hired, by the way.
There's a lot of change in the air. I'll say that around here, Pete.
Well, you had me and Tony gone. Did you not hear that, Tony? He said this is the last show. He didn't say the last show of this year.
I think you hear what you want to hear. Maybe you want to hear that, Pete. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to do it anymore.
Are you kidding me? I can't wait to light up the new coach, whoever it is.
So it was loud and clear, Pete. Loud and clear.
Yeah, I heard it.
Either way, let's get to the point. There is a new head coach opening as well around here. So a lot of news today. Jaguars owner Shad Khan is not often on the record with things, but he set the course moving ahead here, Tony, about how this search is going to go, at least for the Jaguars.
Well, I think the most important thing he said to me, which I agree with 1,000%, that we have to have alignment within the organization. And when I hear that, what it means to me is that your GM and your head coach have to be tied at the hip. It's like a married couple. They're in it together. There needs to be a single message throughout the organization, and those two individuals have to be on the same page. That's how every successful organization is operated, in my opinion, in the NFL, that there's alignment, there's clear direction. This is who we are. This is the convictions we have. This is the philosophy we have. This is how we're going to build the team. These are the type of players we need. Here's the expectations, everyone's roles and responsibilities, and everyone's accountable to it. That is critical, and I loved what he said there.
Well, so is he also saying that it hasn't been that way? Did he say that? Isn't that a legitimate question? That means that they haven't been on the same page.
Well, I mean, you heard a lot of rumblings out of there, for a long time that there was like, I don't want to say dissension, but I mean, Tom was let go last year. The other two were retained. I mean, Pete, you heard it on a national level of the different things that maybe not, there wasn't a complete alignment.
You know what was interesting too is I think some of his comments got misconstrued. Like when they said he was going to take over control of the roster.
Right.
That's not what he meant by that.
Yeah, he explained it again a little later too, Pete.
I know, but
yeah.
I saw that. But like Shad Khan's not going to take control of the roster.
Right.
That's not who he is.
No, I think and I didn't hear the whole thing, and JP, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what he's basically saying is like he expects complete alignment within the organization. And if there's something that they can't, there is an alignment or there's conflict or dissension on a person or a roster or a spot or whatever, that he'll get involved.
Yeah. He basically said
that's how I took it.
Yeah, there was the ultimate decision maker. You're looking at him when it was talking about the GM and head coach openings. And then later it was about that part, about the roster. There were apparently moments where maybe some things were not in his knowledge of what happened with contracts in the past. So it sounds like everything's going to at least touch him before it's finally approved at the end of the day.
But it's not Jerry.
He's not picking players on draft day.
He's Jerry Jones. He's becoming Jerry Jones. That's not who he is.
No.
He will never be that. That's not who he wants to be.
No.
That's ridiculous.
He's
but
the final money
you saw
guy.
that gather steam a little bit this afternoon before he clarified his comment.
That's not. Yeah, that's far from what that is. I mean, Jerry Jones and Mr. Khan are totally different in that world. That's the way that would work. So, a lot happening today. So we kind of saw the Doug thing coming, though, Pete. Right? I mean, it's not really a surprise.
That was inevitable. It was. You can't lose 15 straight games in the NFL in your fifth season and get the job. You just can't come back. Look. Whether any other coach would have won many more, that's debatable. That's something that everybody can debate. Is this make Doug a bad coach? No. Is he a good coach? Who knows? But the reality is, nobody's winning with this group of players. Nobody in the league would have won with this group. Nobody. And maybe you would have won one or two more, maybe. But that's it. This is a bad football team right now. Not good. So, yeah, Marone's firing was inevitable. And Doug's always been a class act. He's been easy to deal with. He gets it. He understands the business of the NFL, and he knows that you lose 15 straight games, you're going.
Right, that's how it's going to work. And I think he probably saw the writing on the wall as well. And, Tony, I mean, that's the way life is.
It's unfortunately the life of a coach too. I mean, Pete, I think I've heard you say many times, like the day you're hired as a coach, just get ready because you're going to be fired at some point. I mean, very few coaches go out on their own terms. It just doesn't happen in professional sports in general, and especially in the NFL. So Doug understands it, I promise you. Now, he might not like it. He might feel like he was dealt a bad hand this year with the way the roster was built and some of the player procurement and the salary cap issues that they had. But Pete said it right. 1-15. It is what it is. It's unfortunate. No one likes it. But there were, there were 6 coaches fired this year. Every year, at least 10%, at least. Usually it's more. This year, it's almost 20% of the coaches get turned over. And so the bottom line is, and I said this on a call earlier, analytics are a huge part of the NFL today. And they're an important part. They're of all professional sports, by the way. And you can use them, and they're productive, and they can give you direction on player procurement. They can give you direction on game management and situational football and all those things. It's great. But do you know the number one metric, which is basically what an analytics are? It's wins and losses. That's how everyone is judged by at the end of the day, players, coaches, and everyone else, when you're on a football team. And when you're 1-15, it's just not going to end well. And I think the writing on the wall started when Dave Caldwell was fired. Because at that point there's going to be a new GM in. And whether now in this model, the GM and the head coach are going to be aligned together, both reporting to Shad. But most GMs are going to say, great, I'd love to come to Jacksonville. It's a great place. It's a great situation. draft capital, number 1 overall pick. You're going to be able to get a young quarterback. You have salary cap room. It's a state with no income taxes. You have an owner that's willing to invest and do what it takes to win. But at the same time, most GMs are going to want to know that they're aligned with the coach and they're comfortable with that coach. And when you go 1-15, that's tough.
And here's the other thing, Tony. You talked about the 10%. We can look at next year and say, if Zach Taylor doesn't win in Cincinnati, he's gone. If Cliff Kingsbury doesn't win in Arizona, he's gone. If Brian Flores doesn't win in Miami, I mean, it would be a little fast, but he might be gone.
No, Brian Flores is fine. But like Doug Peterson, Matt
Nagy. I mean, every year there's 4 or 5 guys that go into the season knowing they have to win or they're done. It's really simple.
Vic Fangio next year.
Vic Fangio, another one. Yeah.
Well, and then
Gruden.
they just announced they just announced they have a new GM coming in at Denver. That could change everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's a position, like you said, you get hired to get fired. And Doug knows. I mean, Doug's a realist. He's smart. He's been around. He knows the way of the world. He knows he knew he was getting fired.
So for the Jags, this will be the 4th head coach under the Khan ownership. 2012, of course, Mike Mularkey 1 year. Gus Bradley came in 13 through 16, and then Marone, and now whoever is hired. There are obviously some names out there, but the prominent name linked to this gig has been.
But stop right there real quick,
yes.
JP. It's you think about that 4 years, 4 coaches in 10 years. Is that right? That's what you said.
This will be the 4th. Yes, coming up.
Okay, 4 coaches in 10 years. The Pittsburgh Steelers have had 3 coaches in like 50
in their
years.
history.
Since the 60s,
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, right. That's right.
I mean, it's nuts. And that's the type of stability you're looking for as an organization. And I think that's ultimately what Shad Khan would love to have, is that kind of stability. This is a place where there's stability at the GM at the coaching position, because that means you're consistently winning, you're competing for division titles, you're in the playoffs, you're making Super Bowl runs, and that's ultimately what you want to get to.
Yeah, but and here's the other thing: if you can't win with what you have coming up in the next couple of years, then you're a bad coach. Period. End of story.
Yeah, but Pete, it's not just about bad coach, good coach, as you just laid down. So it's about, you have a great opportunity because of the way things are aligned right now. And the first pick, draft capital, teams are going to be struggling. Some teams are going to be struggling to get under the cap. So there's probably going to be some players out there that you could help build and make it quicker. It's not an overnight. It's not like you're going to go overnight and say everything's perfect next year. But to your point, you should do it right. But it's not just the coach. It's creating the right culture in the organization on the football side. And that is a big part of the coach, but it's also the GM. It's getting the right players, the right philosophy. I mean, there's a number of things that need to happen in that building to make sure that you are a consistent winner.
I get it. But if you're a good football coach and a good general manager, you should be winning. And I'm talking about getting deep into the playoffs in the second year of your tenure, period.
So 2 years from now, the 2020,
2 years from now. Next year, you push for the wild card, and the year after that, you push to be a deep playoff team, because you have so much capital and so much money. And Tony, we've thrown the names out there who you could try and fix this thing with, and then you keep building on it and drafting the right guys and getting the right players. And you said it, the culture matters. You have to be able to build that thing where everybody comes to work and they want to work and they do the work and they're not knuckleheads. And if you do that and you draft the right players, you will win, because you have that quarterback and the rest of those guys around them. I just believe that this is a great opportunity for the franchise to become relevant. It's never been relevant, Tony, and you played there. It was relevant, like, oh, what a fun little story. Look how fast they got good. But it's never been long-term sustainability and relevance, and that's what that franchise is missing.
Well, and you mentioned, Pete, you mentioned you have the quarterback. Well, and I know we'll probably get to this later, JP, and I don't want to, steal one of your segments. And I know you want to get to the big name out there in coaching. But Pete, and I'll save it. We'll just tease it because we'll have this conversation later. So you are 100% on board with Trevor Lawrence.
Not 100%, 1,000%.
Okay, we'll talk about that coming up. JP, go to the coach.
I like that. Well, we'll come back in a moment and get into some of the hot names around and linked with the Jaguars, including all this smoke about a former Ohio State, Florida, Utah, and Bowling Green head coach. We're off and running. Your questions from social media in the second hour. And this is Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Jet Home Loans on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey, Jaguar fans. Jack Hannany is Audi Jacksonville, and Jack Hannany is Audi Orange Park. Have the luxury and exotic cars you're looking for. Lamborghini, Porsche, Audi, Rolls-Royce, and more. Over 400 new and pre-owned exotic vehicles waiting for you. With special financing up to 180 months and long-term leases, you can afford to drive your dream car from Hannany Exotics at Audi Jacksonville and Audi Orange Park. Online at HannanyExotics.com. See deal for complete details.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Everyone's so busy keeping up. Forget about the Joneses. We all on our telephones with the texts and the tweets and the beats. What he said, she said, can't even follow the thread. Down the hole, we all go. Me, I like keeping up too, with my Corona and my attitude. That's La Vida Mas Fina.
Relax responsibly. Corona Extra Beer. Imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Floridians know what it means to stand together. That's why Florida Blue is committed to the people of Florida by providing health care with lower costs and higher quality. Enroll within 60 days of life-changing events, such as losing your job, to get benefits like plans as low as $0 a month and up to $500 per year towards your premiums in wellness rewards. Call 1-800-750-0164 or visit floridablue.com/care today. Florida Blue is a trade name of Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida, Incorporated. These health benefit plans have limitations and exclusions.
Hey, Jags fans, did you know you can ride your bike to every Jaguars home game at TIAA Bank Field and valet park it for free? That's right. Stop by our bicycle check-in tent, sponsored by Alert Today Florida, near Gate 1 at TIAA Bank Field. An on-duty ZenCog bike professional will park your bike and ensure it's secured during the game. When the game's over, return your claim ticket and pick up your bike. For cycling safety tips, visit alerttodayflorida.com. Remember, Alert Today, alive tomorrow, because safety doesn't happen by accident. Jaguars Happy Hour is presented in part by TIAA Bank, created to serve, built to perform. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. And Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good.
The rumor of Urban Meyer, obviously, I've known Urban over the years, the Big Ten and what have you, and but we've not spoken to anyone about this job or obviously interviewed him. I mean, this is something, it's just, made the decision this morning, so there's, I'll leave it at that.
Jaguars owner Shad Khan today when asked about the Urban Meyer rumors. And welcome back to Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Jet Home Loans. JP Shadrick, Pete Prisco, Tony Boselli. The day after the 2020 regular season, Black Monday, 6 openings now in the NFL, and not that many firings today. There were a couple of openings already. One of those now, the Jacksonville Jaguars, after Doug Marone was relieved of his duties earlier today after 4 seasons plus a couple of games. And the biggest name out there linked to the Jags is Urban Meyer, former Ohio State, Florida, Utah and Bowling Green head coach, current analyst on college football on Fox on the pregame show. Pete, there's a lot of smoke. Is there any fire?
Oh, there's fire. And look, Shad said they haven't talked to him or interviewed him, he said. Did you notice that? How he quickly put interviewed on there? Because they've spoken, they've talked, they know each other. There's a link there. There's probably been a gauge of the interest there. And whether Urban wants to come back, does he have the passion? Does he have the health? Does he have the drive? Is the job a lot more attractive now than it was about 3 weeks ago? I can tell you that. And he knows that. So, yeah, there's interest. And I think there's interest on both sides. Now, whether he can put a staff together, a good staff, whether he's got the drive and will to come back, that's to be determined. But sometimes if you pull out a check that's big enough, your drive and determination becomes a lot more than it was about a month ago. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I actually am going to take Shad at his word that they have not talked, about specifically coming and taking the job. Now, could intermediaries have discussed this, with his agent or with other people, and maybe some friendly conversations between Shad and Urban, just hypotheticals? Possibly, but I don't think.
Correct. There's no formal interview. I get that.
No, but I don't think there's been. I mean, Shad basically said there's been no formal discussions with him being offered a job, or that the job is his if he wants it.
No,
or anything like that.
But there's probably been a few lobs of the basketball to see if he wants to dunk it or not by saying, "Hey, what if this happened? Would you have any interest at all down the road?" Now we have a whole process to go through, but would you be interested in it if that's the case?
Yeah, I mean that's how most of these things work with all of them. And usually it's not with the individual directly. It can be through his agent or other people, and so there's secondary conversations going on.
Yeah, but normally you don't know the guy. He knows the guy.
So you think they've actually talked specifically about?
I'm sure they've talked, and maybe not specifically about what would it take to get you there, how long do you need your staff, what do you that kind of thing. But they probably have said something along the lines, hey, down the road, if this thing changes over, would you be interested in coming to Jacksonville? And if he says no, then it doesn't get out. But he probably didn't say no because I know he's interested. He's interested in it. He'd be foolish not to be interested in it. And by the way, that's a compliment to Shad that he would be interested in it. You got a good owner who's willing to spend money, will spend the money, and you have a ton of cap room and all that draft capital. That's a compliment. To have a name like Urban Meyer linked to the team is a compliment to the organization and a compliment to Shad Khan.
Yeah, I mean, I still think there's a lot of work to be done on that. And you mentioned a couple things. I mean, and we said it last week on the show. I mean, there's no doubt, no questioning that Urban Meyer is a successful head coach. He's never been a coordinator before. He is a leader. He's a CEO type of coach that is a great motivator, a great organizer. He can put things together. He knows what it looks like. So those are all super positive. Now, he's the only done at the college level, never done it in the NFL. And I think you just got to ask a lot of questions of, who the staff is going to be, how would you put it together, what's your philosophy and all those different things. And then the big question is this something that he really wants to do? I mean, because it's hard to win in the NFL. I mean, at Ohio State and Florida, I mean, you have 8 to 10 wins booked when you wake up before the season starts. And you have better players on your team than everyone else, than most of your opponents. That's not the case in the NFL. You wake up with 0 wins. Go ask the Rams and the Browns who played the Jets, who nobody in the world, not one bookmaker, Vegas, nobody thought. Pete Prisco didn't think it. The Browns or the Rams would lose to the Jets. And that's the nature of the NFL. It's hard to win in the NFL. I mean, you had the Jaguars who hadn't won in 14 weeks with the ball with 5 minutes left in the football game and a chance to take the lead against a playoff team. I mean, it's just hard. And does Urban Meyer want to go down that path?
Well, not only that, it's hard to win in the NFL on a week-by-week basis, but it's hard to win when you can't recruit the best players.
Right.
You have to have a whole player procurement strategy. What's your strategy? Like,
right.
You have to get that right.
Because here I'll give you a name. I mentioned Matt Campbell, and Matt Rule's another one. And people say, well, why are they different when you look at them than maybe Urban Meyer? And the reason it's different is this. Urban Meyer goes to Florida, and he gets whatever the heck he wants in terms of players. Look at that team he had there. They were loaded with NFL players. Now, some of them were probably loaded with other stuff as well, but that's a whole nother issue. Because remember, that team was loaded, had a lot of problems, and there was a lot of issues. But he got the players there. He went to Ohio State. He got the players there. You look at Matt Campbell. He went to Iowa State. It was a doormat. And he somehow has turned that team into a winner. And it's been a couple years of being a winner. That tells you he can coach. He can take what he gets and what he has and coach. Whereas when you look at Urban, maybe he can just recruit. You don't know if he can coach. Because it's a big difference, Tony. You made the point. The NFL, you're not getting the top guys at every position. Everybody's not a 5-star. You can't just line up 7 5-stars and say, away we go. And that's the difference between a guy like Matt Rule, Matt Campbell, and Urban Meyer. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying it's a lot easier when you do it the way those guys do it.
Pete, let me push back. Let me push back on you a little bit there because I'm not sure I agree with you from the standpoint. Urban Meyer won at Bowling Green, not getting the best players. Went to Utah. What was Utah before he got there? It wasn't a high profile job or anything else. Went undefeated and won a bowl game against Alabama.
True. And again, early in his career, that's who I think he was. But you know how guys get later in their career when they
he didn't forget how to coach, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden he forgot what he learned.
You know what I mean, though. But I just think that it's a lot easier to recruit to those schools and win than it is to go to those. I mean, yeah, he did a great job. Yeah, I was a big proponent. You can ask Frangie. Before Frangie even knew who Urban Meyer was. We were on the show together back in the day, and I said Urban Meyer would be a great hire for Florida. And he didn't even know who he was. I said, go watch him. He's done a great job at Utah. And I thought, and I still think he was a heck of a coach. All I'm saying is it's a lot easier to win when you're recruiting than it is when you get to the NFL and everybody has the level playing field.
Yeah, I guess my bigger issue, that's definitely something you want to investigate and look into. I just look at the off the field stuff from a standpoint of health, and is this something he really wants to do? I mean, because the last 2 places he's been at, he left because of health issues. And I don't know what they were, if they're stress related or what, but I'll never forget, and it was scary when you watched him on the Ohio State sideline that one time, basically pass out.
Correct.
Or go down to a knee or whatever happened. And so the big question is this something he really wants to do? And is he really, of the stress in the work, I mean, is he ready to go from the Cush Fox job that he has, which is a great job, and he does an outstanding job on TV and everything else, and making a bunch of money, but you're working about 10 to 20 hours or 30 hours a week, whatever it is, to now going back and saying, everyone's second guessing everything you're doing and putting 100 hours a week in and just the grind. It's a hard job. It's not an easy job. And he's had issues in the past.
Yeah, and the other thing is he has never been an X's and O's guy, so he's got to hire good coaches underneath him.
That's right.
And you're right though. We've said this before that position in the NFL and anywhere, you just got to be able to oversee everything. You don't have to be an X's and O's guy. You can, but if you hire the right people, you're okay. If you don't hire the right people underneath you, then that's a problem. And so that would be the key to me. If I were going to talk to Urban, I'd say, okay, Urban, who's coming to be your offensive coordinator? Who's coming to be your defensive coordinator? Because you're neither. He's neither one.
Here's another question.
Yeah, because that's
one
that's
more.
going to drive right to what type of players you go get.
Yeah.
Are you going to go get a zone? Are you going to go get an offensive coordinator like believes in what Shanahan does, or McVay? So your heavy zone, play action pass, move the pocket. Well, then you better go get the right type of guys in the quarterback and everyone who can do that. Or are you going to be more of a drop back, gap scheme, downhill run, power, type of situation? I mean, both work, by the way. There's not a right answer. Both work, but you just got to know which one you're getting because you have to go get the right coaches, the right staff, and the right players to fit into that scheme.
Are any of these?
What he should do is get Trevor Lawrence when he drafts him, and then he can sign Tebow, and then on third down he can put Tebow in at quarterback and run some run plays.
Hell out of here, Pete of all people.
I'm being sarcastic.
Of all
JP.
people, Pete Prisco. Bringing him up. Hey, is there any other credence? How about these other jobs that are open? are any of those places closer to winning than the Jaguars are? And would a guy like Urban Meyer consider one of those, like the Chargers, for example, Pete?
Yeah, I think the Chargers. I mean, now you don't have the same ownership that you do here in Jacksonville. I mean, probably the willingness to spend the dollars that I think Shad's willing to spend in free agency and everything else. But as far as attractiveness, they do have cap space. They don't have the draft capital that the Jaguars do.
They have the
quarterback.
quarterback.
They have
already.
the quarterback. They have the quarterback. They have the pass rusher. Two of the most important pieces of any team. And they have really guys.
And they should have Derwin James coming back in the back of the secondary to become
That's
the
right.
playmaker back there. So, that job, and it's L.A., Tony. I mean, let's be real. There's a big – we love Jacksonville, but there's a big difference betwing Jacksonville and L.A.
Yeah, you know what the difference is? It's 12% of your income's going to state taxes.
That's right.
But you're also playing in a brand new facility that's
not your stadium. You're the second tenant.
It doesn't matter. It's your stadium. It's just like the Giant Stadium never was the Jet Stadium.
I know, but are you not? Is right now? I'm not saying it can't change. The Chargers are a second fiddle in LA to the Rams.
Correct, but the question is, with that quarterback, will they be for long?
Maybe not.
Well, there you go. And it's just like, everybody in the national media, who wants to go to Jacksonville? It's a dump. If they win, and Trevor Lawrence is what you think he is, everybody will want to go there. Like you said, no state income tax. There's the beaches. It's a great town. Are you kidding me? It would be terrific if they win. It's all about winning, period.
All right, guys, let's come back. General manager talk when we return. And a little later, Lawrence or Fields? I'm sure Pete watched the Sugar Bowl the other night. We'll get his thoughts on that. Moving ahead, second hour coming up in a little bit, your social questions. And this is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
Hi folks, Frank Frangie here for the best barbecue in town. That is Bono's. Head to Bono's today. 15 locations on the First Coast and 6 more at TIAA Bank Field. You see, Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You want great barbecue, you want Bono's. Plenty of parking, clean family restaurants, and oh, by the way, the best barbecue you have ever had. So if you want great barbecue, head to Bono's today, the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Floridians know what it means to stand together. That's why Florida Blue is committed to the people of Florida by providing health care with lower costs and higher quality. Enroll within 60 days of life-changing events, such as losing your job, to get benefits like plans as low as $0 a month and up to $500 per year towards your premiums in wellness rewards. Call 1-800-750-0164 or visit floridablue.com/care today. Florida Blue is a trade name of Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida, Incorporated. These health benefit plans have limitations and exclusions.
Hey, it's the Good Greek Spiro, and I am proud to announce that Good Greek Moving and Storage is now the official mover of your Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are making all of the right moves, and you should too. So when it's time for you to move, do it like the Jags and call the Good Greek. Simply dial ** Greek from your cell or go to goodgreek.com. That's goodgreek.com. Good Greek Moving and Storage, official movers of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Good Greek Moving and Storage, your superhero movers.
Jaguars Happy Hour is presented in part by Dreamfinders Homes. Homes that fit your lifestyle. Next Grill, everyone's invited. And Adecco. Visit AdeccoUSA.com.
I've gone through the rite of passage, okay, as a new owner coming into the league, the advisors, consultants, whatever. So, we did that. This time around, I think I have a much better sense myself. So, I'm the key decision maker, but we do have people at the team, at the Jaguars. I mean, Mark Lamping would be one who will be working with these people. So, they will be involved from that viewpoint. But, when it comes to who the key decision maker is going to be, I mean, you're looking at it.
Jaguars owner Shad Khan today when asked who is involved in the hiring process. And welcome back. Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans, JP Shadrick, Tony Boselli, Pete Prisco. The Jags have parted ways with head coach Doug Marone. That was this morning. And Jaguars owner Shad Khan spoke to the media just about an hour and a half after that happened, around 10:30 today. So now the GM and the head coach jobs are open. We've touched on the head coaching opportunity and a lot of the same ideas, I'm sure, Pete, in the GM world. We saw a lot of early names, and then we didn't see many names the last week or so. It felt like, they were interviewing some of the people that were outside the building, outside the league at the moment to get those at least done before they can go on to the list of people I'm sure they have that is in the National Football League, Pete. That's probably how this is working.
Well, yeah, and I think it has a lot to do with if you hired somebody like Urban Meyer, you got to hire somebody that he knows to work with him. And I think that's the way that's going to go. If it's somebody else, you want them linked together.
Yes.
And I've said this a lot of times. I think Ryan Cowden and Arthur Smith in Tennessee, Adam Peters and Robert Saleh in San Francisco, Eric Bieniemy and Borgonzi in, Kansas City. There's usually ties with these guys, and it makes a lot of sense to try and keep guys that know each other working together. It's clear Shad Khan was not happy with what was going on between head coach and front office the last couple of years. There seems to be a major disconnect there. And if that's the case, he wants to bring him back in. It's better to have people that know each other and are familiar with each other.
Yeah, I think the sense I get, Pete, is that this is going to be, more of a strong head coach model. And when I say that, not that the head coach has final say in everything. And let me start by saying this. If who has final say over the 53-man roster is ever an issue, then you have the wrong people.
I agree.
Let's just get there, because everyone's like, who has final say over the 53? Who cares? Because if you get the right people and they're aligned, you'll figure it out and you'll be on the same page.
But the coach should always have control over the game day roster.
100%. They're coaching the guys. Give me a break.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
No doubt about it. And so I think, with that said, I do believe that the head coach, whoever it is, whether it's Urban or one of these other 50 candidates out there, the Robert Salehs, the Eric Bieniemys, whoever, Arthur Smiths, a Pat Fitzgerald up in Northwestern, maybe why not call Lincoln Riley at Wisconsin?
I would.
Oklahoma. Who's a great offensive mind. I would too. Whoever that is. I'm not sure they're going to pick the GM, but I think Shad and everyone else in the process wants to make sure they're comfortable with the GM. Like, I'll go back to when the 49ers, they were probably the first and the latest of teams that have done this, and there's been others. The Browns did it last year with Stefanski. When they hired Kyle Shanahan, they then went out and were interviewing GMs, and they wanted to make sure Kyle was comfortable with the GMs, and that's how was one of the reasons that John Lynch got the job. I mean, one, he's very capable, smart, good football guy, but also because that it's not like they had a deep relationship, Kyle and John, but they knew each other, and Kyle was very comfortable with John being the GM because they were going to be tied together. They both when they signed their deals, they both signed, I think, 5 or 6 year deals, whatever it was, because the message is you guys are in this together. You win together, you lose together, where there's complete alignment. But I do think, and so I think what Shad said, this is going to be done simultaneously. I think the way I heard that, and kind of reading the tea leaves a little bit, is whoever's first, my guess is, if I was guessing, it's going to be the coach first with a list of GMs that Shad likes and kind of getting input, like, what do you think about these guys?
Do you know these guys? Do you know any of these guys?
Could you work with these guys? What do you think? And maybe it goes as far as, now this is all conjecture. Once you hire the coach, hey, you're our guy. Why don't you come have a conversation with these 3 guys? We're good with any of these 3 guys. Let's see who you're comfortable with.
And that's kind of the way it happened, Tony. That's kind of the way it happened with Shanahan. Shanahan was hired.
No, I know, 100%.
Terry McDonough was going to get that job at one point. He was the second choice, and then I think he was much more comfortable, or Kyle was more comfortable with Lynch, and that's why Lynch got the job. Brandon Beane got the job in Buffalo. That's a perfect example now. Sean McDermott.
Well, in Cleveland, they hired Stefanski first, and then Andrew Berry, because Stefanski was comfortable with it. They got along. They saw it the same way, and then they hired him as the GM. And so, forget the timing, because I don't know which is going to come first. I'm not saying it even matters as much, but the bottom line is, I think what Shad's saying is he wants to make sure those 2 guys are in together. Their alignment.
Well, what these guys are all showing now is the old model of general manager gets hired and then he hires whoever the heck he wants as a coach is kind of passé a little bit now. It's not the way it is all the time anymore.
Well, because I agree with you, Pete. And I think one of the, I don't want to say dangers, but one of the downsides of that model is if you do that, then and you've said it before on the show, because you're right, GMs feel like they get 2 cycles of coaches.
Correct.
And so guess what? If it's not working out with the first guy, it's easy to kind of throw him under the bus,
right?
Fire him and go get your next guy.
Correct.
And you know what helps,
we
though,
saw that.
is that the new idea of thinking is also winning. If it wasn't winning, there wouldn't be any other teams doing it the new way.
Correct.
Well, but teams, I mean, there's teams that win. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers have had a GM forever.
Right.
And they've gone through GMs. And, I mean, It's not like Tomlin,
Kevin Colbert, and
it's not like Tomlin brought Colbert in with them. I mean,
and here's the other thing: it works both ways. But Tony's right; it makes it a lot easier to blow them all out if you stink after 3 years. Because you look at Thomas Dimitroff hired 2 coaches in Atlanta. He had Smitty and he had Dan Quinn. Then he stayed. Smitty went. Then they both went the second time, and that's usually the way it is. You get 2 coaches, but when you come in together, there's going to be nobody they're all going to be blamed. So they'll all get out.
Well, and Pete, I like that better.
Me too.
From the standpoint, because first of all, the only way it works is if the GM and the head coach are on the same page. Like any petty infighting about this guy, and the worst thing you can have, again, in my opinion, is where you have the personnel guys, the GM and scouts trying to be coaches and saying, oh, we got you good guys, you're not coaching them right. Or the coaches being the personnel guys saying, we're coaching them, you guys got us the wrong guy. When everyone has buy-in in the process and everyone's on the same page, I mean, human nature is like, hey, we're in this together. Let's figure it out together.
And the other thing about that model is, and it's general manager hiring a coach, and they are working well together, and it's working for a while, everything's fine. But when it starts unraveling, they start throwing knives.
Pointing the fingers like, hey, it's you. It's like, hey, it's you.
Yeah. There's a knife in his back and another one in his back, and I'll leak this out there, and it gets ugly.
That's right.
All right, let's come back, guys. We will get Pete Prisco's breakdown of the All-State Sugar Bowl. Ohio State, Clemson, a great quarterback battle, and we'll see if his position has swayed on the number one overall pick. Actually, he answered it earlier. No, it hasn't. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
The wait for the holidays is over, America. It's time to make some joy. And we're here to help with the Ford Built for the Holidays sales event. We're offering the best deals of the season across the Ford lineup, so you can road trip with the whole family comfortably in a Ford Expedition. Bring home a tree that's bigger than you ever have with a built Ford Tough F-150. And find new ways to make the holidays bright this year when you visit your local Ford dealer. The joy is up to you, America, so let's get to it. Ford. Built for the holidays.
Hey Jags fans, did you know you can ride your bike to every Jaguars home game at TIAA Bank Field and valet park it for free? That's right. Stop by our bicycle check-in tent, sponsored by Alert Today Florida, near Gate 1 at TIAA Bank Field. An on-duty ZenCog bike professional will park your bike and ensure it's secured during the game. When the game's over, return your claim ticket and pick up your bike. For cycling safety tips, visit alerttodayflorida.com. Remember, Alert Today, alive tomorrow, because safety doesn't happen by accident.
You're working from home. So how do you connect with coworkers and clients? With RingCentral, the #1 global communication solution for business. RingCentral makes talking, texting, collaborating, and video calls easy. And it's all on one platform. And when we say everyone should be connected, we mean it. It's why we're giving RingCentral free to educators, health providers, and nonprofits. Learn more at ringcentral.com. Welcome to the new RingCentral.
Everyone's so busy keeping up. Forget about the Joneses. We all on our telephones with the texts and the tweets and the beats. What he said, she said, can't even follow the thread. Down the hole, we all go. Me, I like keeping up too, with my Corona and my attitude. That's La Vida Más Fina.
Relax responsibly. Corona Extra Beer. Imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Pinpoint, the official signage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, helps business decision makers like you maximize the impact of their brand. Your company's identification, advertising, and even the words you use make an impression on your clients. With Pinpoint as your coach, you can make sure it's a good impression. Pinpoint provides the creative design and production services for anything you need to enhance your brand, from custom signage to complete marketing solutions. Step up your game with Pinpoint and create the ultimate brand experience for your clients. Visit experiencepinpoint.com. Welcome back, Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Jet Home Loans. JP Shadrick, Pete Prisco, Tony Boselli. Your social questions coming up in the second hour of the program. Busy day today. Doug Marone out as the Jaguars head coach after 4+ seasons. And Jaguars owner Shad Khan spoke today. We'll hear from Shad coming up throughout the show. The full video conference available on Jaguars.com as we speak. This is the first time, guys, we have all been together on a program since the All-State Sugar Bowl. The other night, Pete, Trevor Lawrence for Clemson. Justin Fields threw 6 touchdown passes for Ohio State in that game and showed a lot of grit, taking a massive hit on his side and staying in the game, coming back in, probably getting shot up and then playing through some things and really put together a big performance. You said earlier you're still on Trevor Lawrence 1,000%, but what did Fields do for you the other night in New Orleans?
Well, I like what I saw with his toughness. I mean, the kid came back and played, and he stood in there and he made throws. But I'm going to look at it from a more practical standpoint. Clemson can't rush the passer. He stood back there all day. And on the other side, Clemson's offensive line Can't protect the passer. Trevor Lawrence got beat up good in that game.
No, they
He took
ran him a
lot of
bunch
shots.
too. I don't know why they run him so much.
And the other thing is, he threw for 400 yards, and you would have thought he was 12 of 50 for 180 the way people were talking. He's the clear-cut number one pick. And by the way, I'm not so sure Zach Wilson's not going to go ahead of Justin Fields. And give Fields credit. He did a really nice job. But if you had put those two on different teams, on each of the other teams, it would have been Lawrence that would have had the big day, the monster day, and not Fields. So, and here's the other thing. Everybody's putting into one game, Fields, look at Fields. He had two really bad games. He wasn't good in the Big Ten championship game, and he was horrible against Indiana, two of the better teams he played this year. So we'll see next week when he plays Alabama on Monday night. We'll see what he can do. I'm sure that defense stinks too. He'll probably light them up as well. But he's not Trevor Lawrence. And for anybody to try and make the claim that he is ridiculous. And Jaguar fans got their wish. He hasn't played another game.
One and
best
done.
thing that could happen.
One and done.
I mean, that's the best case scenario.
I mean, so here's the thing. There's no doubt that Justin Fields had the better game. I mean, he looked like the better quarterback on the field for that one night. And Twitter went crazy saying, "Oh, there's a question," and I saw Pete, you bouncing back and forth against people. It's one game. You go back, and Pete said it. You look at the two previous games before that, Fields was not very good at all. And I think you have to look at the total body of work. And I think clearly, in my opinion, I don't want to watch a lot more film on him, that right now Trevor Lawrence is clearly the guy above Justin Fields. And to Pete's point on Zach Wilson, I've heard in multiple places now, multiple people are higher on Zach Wilson than Justin Fields as well. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I think as you approach this process, whoever the head coach is and whoever the GM is, you really have to discipline yourself to go in with an open mind and basically starting all of them at ground zero. And go let the film, go let the combine, go let the interviews, go let the personal workout days determine who you feel like is the best quarterback. I do think it's dangerous going in and saying, well, Trevor Lawrence is the guy. He's our guy. I don't think you can do that. I think you really have to have the discipline to start from ground zero in this process with the quarterback.
Well, I'll do it. He's the guy.
That's the kind of the point, Pete. Because hold on, if he's been the guy for 3 years already, then how is 1 or 2 games going to change that?
It's not.
You're missing my point, JP. I'm not saying any games. I'm not saying that the game changed anything for how I feel about Trevor Lawrence. My point is, they're going to play a national title game. Justin Fields is. Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence are done. Great. At the end of it, now the job of the GM and the personnel department, and probably the coach, because it's a big decision, you need to go start watching tape of all these guys, and you need to go watch as many games as you can get your hands on. And you need to be prepped and going in, and then you go into the combine, and you need to have your list of questions and what you want to do, and you need to sit down with each of them and get them on the board. And then you need to go watch them throw. Now, none of them will probably throw at the combine, so that's fine. But then you're going to go have their pro day, and you need to go sit there and watch how they perform there. And then you need to go in and start doing your homework behind the scenes with the strength coach at their college, the trainers, their long lost, girlfriend and family members. And you need to go do work and understand what you're getting because you're investing a lot. My point is, you have to start from a level playing field for all of them when you start this process. It's zero. And then you judge them and you work your way up.
The level playing field's been played out over 3 games. It ain't level. Over 3 seasons. It's not level. It starts with
Pete. I think you're right. You're missing the point.
I'm not. I understand. You're saying, okay, so let's go, and you put Lawrence on the board, and he's good on the board, but you find out that he dissed his 6th grade student to a friend or something. You know what I mean? Yeah, well, I get it, Tony.
Pete, I'm not saying all the metrics are weighted evenly. Obviously, the way he plays is weighted.
Right now, what would possibly, other than the fact that he was arrested or had a drug problem, what would deter you from taking him?
Based on what I know, I've not watched one tape of Zach Wilson. I've never seen him play.
You've seen him play on TV and stuff.
No,
before.
I haven't. I've watched BYU this year. I've not.
He's good. He's intriguing, but there's no competition between the two of them.
So, I mean, Pete, I think I agree 100% with you. I'm just saying you have to go through the process so you don't make mistakes. It's no different what the Colts did when, I mean, everyone thought Peyton Manning was the first pick. And then there were some questions because Ryan Leaf came on late, that 1 year he had, no doubt about it. But the body of work would have told you Peyton Manning, but Ryan Leaf came on hot. And I remember hearing interviews with Bill Point. He went into the process and did the work and went through everything. At the end of it, landed on Peyton Manning.
And he was close to taking Ryan Leaf, by the way. He won't ever admit that, but he was. I know that he was. But again, you're talking about two guys that ended up being very close. With this process is almost over in terms of watching the tape, and it's not close. I don't care if Justin Fields goes and throws for 550 next week against Alabama and 4 more touchdowns. It's not close. Trevor Lawrence is the better player. Put on the entire body of work, and there's 2 years at Ohio State with Justin Fields, and now you have the 3 years for Trevor Lawrence. You put them on against each other, it's not close.
If he throws
That's not to say that Justin Fields can't be good or Zach Wilson can't be good.
Right.
It's just this kid has, going into next year, he has extraordinary NFL talent.
If Fields throws for 550 and 4 touchdowns next week, they might still lose the national championship game as well.
Well, yeah, when you get whoever you want to come to Tuscaloosa, it's easy to win.
Roll Tide. Let's come back in a moment. Second hour of Jaguars Happy Hour, including your social questions. We'll go around the playoffs in the National Football League. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Jet HomeLoans and the Jaguars Digital Network.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Jaguars fans, Jack Hanania Jr. here from Jack Hanania Chevrolet Buick GMC. Right now you can shop over 1,200 used vehicles, including over 100 certified pre-owned vehicles and vehicles starting as low as $2,000. That's right, and I guarantee you, no haggle pricing, just our best price. If you're looking for a quality pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, come see us in St. Augustine. Why buy from us? That's why.
Example 2007 Mazda CX-7 Sport. Stock number 701244232 plus tax, title, and fees. Vehicle subject prior to sale. Offers cannot be combined. See dealer for details.
Committed to the team. Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
You won't find a better deal to keep your ride clean than Scrubble's Flexible Service Car Wash. Start in the tunnel wash and experience state-of-the-art equipment while enjoying a soapy light show. Our quality soaps and solutions keep your vehicle streak-free. Every 3-minute car wash package comes with self-serve vacuuming, lint-free towels, window cleaner, and a free air freshener. Visit us at the St. John's Town Center, Fleming Island, and Atlantic Beach. And coming soon to Kernan and Atlantic. Trust the bow tie. You'll know quality once you arrive. Go Jags!
At ViStar, we believe in better convenience, so members can bank any way they want, whether it's at a branch, on a mobile device, or at one of more than 20,000 fee-free ATMs across North America. We believe that people have better things to do with their time. If you believe that convenience is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
Any repeated physical activity puts stress on the body. Checking your phone, getting in the car, sitting at your desk, checking the phone, getting in your car, sitting at your desk, checking your phone for the 50th time today. If you do anything with regularity, you should get massaged with regularity. Massage Envy. Keep your body working.
Regular body work makes the body work with massage, skincare, and stretch. Come in today for more information or visit massageenvy.com for more details.
You don't want players going in and out or contracts given till you're aware of that. So, striking the balance between, delegation and abdication, I think is an important point. And certainly I found that in the last, 15 months, having that, necessitates the conversation. You're part of the conversation with the GM and the head coach. So being part of that here, for the immediate future, I think is important to me.
We're back, baby. Jaguars Happy Hour. Second hour of the program. That's Jaguars owner Shad Khan discussing his role in the affairs of the football side coming up. He is the owner of the football team, and that's how it's going to be. The GM and head coach will report directly to him separately moving ahead. The process of finding out who those two will be is certainly already underway. Big news day today, of course. Head coach Doug Marone.
JP, doesn't it sound doesn't it sound like he feels like he was left out of the loop?
It does kind of feel that way if you just kind of hear his tone a little bit,
Yeah, definitely.
Not anymore. That won't be the case moving ahead if he can help it, that's for sure. Of course, this morning, Doug Marone let go as the head coach after 4 seasons plus 2 games. They lost 15 straight to lose to the longest losing streak in franchise history and finished 1-15 this year. So both jobs are open now, general manager and head coach. And there are some more names being linked and being requested reported as requested by the Jaguars coming out. Robert Saleh was one of those just moments ago that we saw pop up as a name that could be linked to the Jaguars head coaching opening that they wanted permission to speak with. Arthur Smith in Tennessee, another one of those, Pete. So we're seeing more and more of these names. It's expected on a day like today when Mr. Khan today said that they were about to put that list in this morning of requests.
And those are 2 guys they should talk to. Those are 2 very good football coaches. And I've said that we know Robert Saleh. He was around. He's a good coach. He's got the passion. Did a great job this year. And I think he'd be a heck of a head coach. Arthur Smith, I don't know. But I've called around the people and checked on them. And everybody I trusted in this league for a long time vouched for him highly. Works his butt off, smart, relates to the players, understands what it takes. I think he would be another guy. I think both Saleh and Arthur Smith are legitimate candidates, along with Eric Bieniemy. I would talk to Brian Daboll. If you have a young quarterback coming in who's going to be a big, powerful thrower of the football, why not go talk to Brian Daboll? Look what he did with Josh Allen. Look at that offense. They're playing the best football of anybody in the league right now. And that guy has transformed his entire game.
How long has Daboll been at Buffalo?
What is it now? 3, 4 years. He came with McDermott.
He came with the McDermott. And so is the success there? Is it Daboll? I mean, or is it Josh Allen and the quarterback coach and what he's doing on his own as well outside the building? And also,
it's all of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And let's not forget, they added 2 key pieces this year with Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley.
But they also, Beasley was there last year, but they also do this though, Tony. They dictate tempo, and I think that's where Daboll gets credit.
I'm not saying he's not a good coach, Pete. I'm just saying I worry about just going after the hot coordinator because being a good coordinator does not mean you're a good head coach. And I don't know Daboll at all.
I don't either.
I would interview him, by the way. I'm with you there. I don't know Arthur Smith. I would interview him because I've heard good things about him as well. And I know the head coach, Mike Vrabel, and if you're on Mike Vrabel's staff, you're a football guy. There's no doubt about that. I do know Robert Saleh. I think he'll be a great head coach. I really do. I think he has the makeup to do it. I would interview him. I would also probably interview Eric Bieniemy. He's come from he's been under Andy Reid. A lot of Andy Reid's guys have had success in the NFL. He's one of the better head coaches. He grooms guys and mentors guys, I think, in a pretty interesting way because they have had success other places and a dynamic offensive mind. And so I'd interview Eric Bieniemy as well. And I think you should interview Urban Meyer. I would probably, if you're going to go to the college ranks, I would pick up the phone and see if Lincoln Riley is interested because I think he's a really good young head coach, offensive minded. and has had success. There's drawbacks of getting a college guy because he doesn't know the NFL game, doesn't know maybe the right staff to get together and everything else. So there are downside risks to that too. But those are all good names to go look into.
But you know what, though, Tony? A lot of these young coaches that get jobs the first time, they don't get the right staff. You look at Zach Taylor. He's already having to make changes on his staff. You look at, he's being forced to make those changes. You look at what Sean McVay did. He went to a Super Bowl, and then he fired Wade Phillips and brought in both the new offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and special teams coordinator. So sometimes young coaches don't get the staff that they need to have right away, in large part because they can't and because they don't know yet. And I think that's important to learn too. So if you're talking about a college coach, yeah, he's not going to have NFL guys, but or he's familiar with, and he might have to make a change after a couple of years. But again, if you get the right guy, like the Rams have the right guy in Sean McVay. It took him, they went to the Super Bowl, but it took him to realize that maybe he could only get so far with Wade Phillips. I thought it was a crazy move, but look at their defense now. It's been really good with that new defensive coordinator. So I think it makes sense sometimes to go get the right head coach. I'd talk to Lincoln Riley. I'd call Matt Campbell. I'd call Pat Fitzgerald. I'd call all those guys and talk to them.
Yeah, I don't think it hurts at all. I agree with you.
I mean, this is the time to do it. I mean, this is and Shad said it today. They're going to cast the wide net and do all their due diligence they can and make sure they have the right guys in here. So,
you know what I would do too, JP?
Yeah, Pete.
I'd bring them all in and I'd pick the hell out of their brains. And then once I did hire, I'd say, how about this? We got this from that during our interview. There's some good ideas here. I'd want to hear everything that they had to tell me. If when a coach comes in for an interview, he should pull out his envelope and have his entire 3 coaching staffs already there. This is who I would hire as my coordinator. If I can't get him, here's number 2. If I can't get him, here's number 3. Same with all the way down, every position down. And then, you know what? While you're doing your interviews, if you say, hey, everybody had this wide receiver coach, why don't we go get him when you get the guy who's hired? So I think you can learn and glean information off of those interviews as well.
Everybody will have a plan, right? Everybody should have a plan.
By the way, I would put, if I'm Shad Khan in that building, because that staff is getting blown out too, let's not forget, I would consider Joe DeCamillis to stay around as my special teams coach, and I would consider keeping Keenan. I think both those guys are good enough that they could warrant being on somebody else's staff.
Mr. Khan said today that all the assistants are still on deals right now, but the new head coach will make that decision. Yes,
I get it, but I would try, and if I'm a new coach coming in, I think Keenan's done a good job with the wide receivers. I think that Joe DeCamillis has been a long time successful special teams coach in this league.
Sorry,
you agree, Tony?
Tony.
No, I think Joe D is one of the best, especially, go look at it around the league. I mean, the way they perform and what he gets out of his guys, I think he's one of the best coordinators in all football. And I do think Keenan's done a good job. Obviously I'm biased with Keenan. He's a former teammate, think highly of him. So I do think he's done a good job with that group.
All right, GM interviews. Go ahead, Pete. Sorry.
No, by the way, I loved it after the game yesterday. Keenan talking to Phillip Rivers, former teammates.
That's right.
Phillip Rivers still playing.
That's right.
It's pretty amazing.
How many years does he have left, though, Pete? Did you watch that game yesterday?
Yeah, that throw in the middle of the field that Wingard picked off. Oh my God!
But he just has some of his balls. He does not get much zip on that ball anymore, does he?
Not the deep out, he doesn't. But he's smart enough to know where to go with it, though. He can still make plays.
They struggled yesterday, man.
Yeah.
It also helps when you run for 270 yards.
That does help. That makes it a much easier game. But with all those yards, I mean, it was a 2014 game with 5 minutes left.
It's almost like they went dormant. You know how sometimes you get a big lead and you go dormant? They went dormant. Then they looked up and they go, uh-oh. Don't you think?
I don't know what happened, but they struggled the whole second half. They couldn't move the ball. They couldn't do anything. I mean, they got the big play out of Jonathan Taylor to make it 28-14. But outside of that, they did nothing.
Do you? This is one I saw today. PFF put their all rookie team together. They put Jonathan Taylor on it ahead of James Robinson.
But he ended up with more yards.
More yards.
Yeah.
More yards per attempt.
What would you take?
Oh.
Woo-hoo, that's close.
Dear.
Tough.
That 28 looked like 28.
Jonathan Taylor was good yesterday. He's been really good the back half of this year.
What's it for a guy that's pretty good size? His 40 time, I forget what his 40 time was, but he plays a lot faster, I think, than he clocked.
I thought he was like a 4.4 guy at the combine.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not Fred Taylor speed though.
Well, Fred's 4.3, 4.2.
But don't you remember 4.28? I think is what 4.29 is what he clocked at his pro day.
Yeah, it's like insane
at 2:30.
Wow. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, a 4.39.
Yeah, Taylor's a fast guy. He can fly.
That's a good looking back, and
he doesn't have the lateral movement that Fred had.
No, he doesn't have the speed that Fred had. He doesn't have the lateral movement Fred had.
How about this, by the way? We'll get to the league and the playoffs and all that a little bit later. But all time in the NFL, there were 13 250-yard plus rushing days all time. There were none in the same season until yesterday when there were two. Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor both went over 250 yesterday.
And both against us.
Well, no, Henry did it yesterday.
It was the Titans.
Yeah.
Yesterday there were two of them.
Oh, I'm right.
Against the Texans.
He only went for like 230 against the Jaguars, Tony, okay? He didn't go 250.
I'm sorry. You're right.
Either way, it's a big day.
He's had a great year, Derrick Henry. I got to give him his props.
Yep.
2,000 yards. Is he in the MVP conversation now?
No, but he's in the Offensive Player of the Year conversation.
I mean, that's unreal.
And he
had 371 carries. Right. How much more does he have on that body? They're beating the daylights out of the guy.
Right. And he had to go big in a big game when it mattered to go get to 2002, and he did it, and did it big in Week 17. Good stuff. So let's come back. Not good because it's in the division, but good for Derrick Henry at least. Let's come back. Social questions. Tony's favorite segment. The last time Tony will have to answer social questions on this show this year. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network. Jaguars fans, did you know that with Drizzly, you can get Tito's handmade vodka delivered to your door in under 60 minutes? Well, you can. And now they're giving all fans $10 off their first order. Use the code JAGS10 at checkout. Just download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com and make sure you're all set to mix it up with Tito's handmade vodka for the perfect game day. That's DRIZLY.com. And remember to use the special code JAGS10 to save $10 on your first order. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Hi folks, Frank Frangie here for the best barbecue in town. That is Bono's. Head to Bono's today. 15 locations on the First Coast and 6 more at TIAA Bank Field. You see, Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You want great barbecue, you want Bono's. Plenty of parking, clean family restaurants, and oh, by the way, the best barbecue you have ever had. So if you want great barbecue, head to Bono's today, the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
At ViStar, we believe in better. Better convenience, so members can bank any way they want, whether it's at a branch, on a mobile device, or at one of more than 20,000 fee-free ATMs across North America. We believe that people have better things to do with their time. If you believe that convenience is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
Hi. This is Dr. Patrick Basil of Basil Plastic Surgery and Wellness. I'm a proud veteran of the U.S. Navy, and during my active duty time, I had the amazing privilege to serve our country and those who were wounded in combat. Helping my patients return to a normal life, I was able to provide an unparalleled level of care, which I've carried over to my own private practice today. As the official plastic surgeon of the Jaguars, I invite you to visit us at patrickbasilmd.com and would like to wish the Jags best of luck in today's game.
Jaguars fans, game day is back. And this year we've teamed up with Jameson to add another win to your week with official Jaguars and Jameson branded collectible stadium cups. They're only available for a limited time in the Jacksonville metro area. So grab yours today, pour a smooth Jameson, ginger and lime, and cheer on the Jags with Jameson. Taste responsibly. Jameson Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof. Product of Ireland. Copyright 2020. Imported by John Jameson Import Company, New York, New York. Jaguars Happy Hour is presented in part by TIAA Bank, created to serve, built to perform. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. And Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good.
Welcome back, Jaguars Happy Hour, second hour of the program, the final program of the 2020 season. JP Shadrick, Pete Prisco, and Tony Boselli. Time now for social questions. Each Monday, we put the bat signal out early in the day. Here's what we come up with today. It's the questions and answers that you got to have. Can't miss. You're going to miss them for the next 6 months because we won't have a show. Let's get to number one. From @Hodari11, if Pete and Tony were put in charge of the GM head coach search, what qualifications are most important to you in deciding who you want for each position? Best Jags radio show and to health and happiness in the new year.
Go ahead,
Pete?
Tony.
So as a head coach, so just one. It's hard to say one quality or qualification because I think it narrows it. Like you could say, oh, you have to have head coaching experience in the past. Well, that doesn't always guarantee that success in the future. There's been plenty. If that was the Rams' philosophy, you wouldn't have got Sean McVay, who is is one of the better young head coaches in all football.
Or Matt LaFleur or Sean McDermott.
That's right. So I think you have to, so if you're talking about qualifications, I'm not sure, is it personality type? Is it style? Is there anything? Because there's a lot of styles that have won in the NFL and different philosophies. And so if I'm looking, I think you've got to have a feel that, and it's hard for me to really quantify what the one quality is, but I think leadership for both positions are the most important to me. Can you lead an organization? Can you lead a team? And what does that mean? So then you have to start diving into what are the characteristics that you want out of these individuals. I mean, I think it's around, you want to make sure you got somebody who has some integrity, meaning what they say and what they believe is played out in their overall lives and how they treat people and everything else. I think that's critical. I think they have to be able to command respect, meaning they go into a room and we all know these people. I mean, you've all seen them when individuals walk in the room, they just, there's something about them that you say, this guy or this gal is a leader and people are going to follow them. I think, you want to understand, I do think one of the qualities of the head coach I want to make sure is they have to have a clear plan on the offensive side of the ball of how they're going to develop the quarterback and what does that look like and what is their philosophy around that. I think that's also critical. But, if it's just one quality or one qualification, I don't think there's a qualification because if you look at scouts who've been successful at organizations and were really good, I mean, I don't want to take a shot at Dave Caldwell, but Dave Caldwell was at Atlanta and they had a lot of success. He worked on Bill Polian, who's is a Hall of Fame GM, and it didn't work out. So is the qualification of being around somebody or around somebody great who's done it or a great organization, is that a qualification that makes sense? I don't think so. And so leadership to me is the number one qualification. You have to hire a leader because if you look at both of these roles, the head coach is more about just X's and O's. And that's why I think Urban Meyer is a candidate you have to take seriously because it's not just about X's and O's and being able to draw on the board. If you're a head coach now, as a coordinator, you better be able to do that. But as a head coach, you better be able to lead an organization. You better be able to manage people. You better be able to organize them. You better be able to get them all on the same page, going in the same direction. And the same with the GM, because just because you're a good scout and good at identifying personnel or evaluating personnel, that doesn't mean you're going to be a good GM. We've seen countless scouts who were very successful where they were and just fail miserably as GMs. Why is it? Because they don't have the leadership to lead a team or an organization. And that is critical. That's the difference in any business where the difference between an individual contributor who is outstanding at what they do, whether it's in sales or whatever, doesn't always translate to be the best manager or leader of a team because they don't have those qualities.
I agree. And I put it in a different terms than leadership. I'll put it in terms of if you're going to hire a coach, he's got to be able to come into a room and take grown men and treat them as grown men, but also be able to instill discipline and a work ethic. And that's the fine line. We've seen many a coach, a guy I know well in your building came in there and they go too far at first. And then it can become fractured and frayed and you have to kind of pull it back together. I think that's the toughest challenge for any coach in the NFL is to be able to come in and instill discipline because you don't want to have problems. So you instill the discipline, the work ethic, and yet you still get to treat them like grown men. And that's a hard, fine line to straddle. And Tony, you've been around it. You know, Tom, that thing was coming unglued there early in his career there in Jacksonville. It was coming unglued in New York, but he was smart enough to kind of pull it back in. If you could start that way and get in there, same thing, by the way, Brian Flores in Miami. Early in his tenure in Miami, that thing was coming unglued a little bit. But he brought it back in. Ideally, you got to be able to treat grown men as men and yet still instill discipline and a work ethic. Show up, do your damn job, do it the best of your ability, stay out of trouble, and I will treat you with respect. That's what you have to instill.
Well, and I think one of the things, and especially with today's players, I think it's always been like this. I think it's like all of humanity has been like this. But today's players, especially with this generation, you have to be able to build a relationship with players. Because if you don't have a relationship with your players and they don't believe you care about them, then they don't care about what you say. And that is critical. And so that's all about relationships. So you better have a leader who has the ability to understand today's player, which is about relationship. It's about respect, giving respect, receiving respect. It's about instilling a set of standards and keeping everyone accountable to that. But the way to do that, you have to build a relationship. Because people care much less about what you say and much more about what you do and how you make them feel. And so that is so important. And I think you've seen it here. We've seen players, top-end players, that they lost because they didn't want to be here anymore. And I think a lot of that is about relationship and be able to build those relationships, maintain those relationships, because you'll get more out of your players that way.
Yeah, and Shad,
I mean, this isn't
actually,
the day is no longer here where you can just dictate the players do this or else.
Yeah, and
players, it doesn't work anymore.
Nitpicky, stupid rules that have no bearing on whether you win or lose.
That's right.
That stuff is outdated and archaic. But the rule that will never die, no matter who the coach is show up, be on time, do your damn work, and stay the hell out of trouble. That's the most important thing. If you come into my building, and Tony, you used to get there, 6 o'clock to start the day when you used to go in there on a Wednesday? You are there from 6 until you walk out at 6 probably on a Wednesday? You better do your work the entire time and work and know what you're doing and do the work off the field to be able to do your work on a Wednesday. That's all I want from you. If you give me that and you give me 100% and you know your playbook and you work and you stay out of trouble, I'm going to treat you with the utmost respect. I'm going to treat you like a grown man. Now, you make a mistake, I might, get on you a little bit about something. Hey, dude, you're a little overweight. You didn't put your work in this week, whatever. But you have to be able to treat them with respect and treat them like men, and you can't go past that.
Shad Khan actually hit this right on the head today in one of his answers about what he might be looking for in the two open positions, what he's learned over the years, and a proven leader who understands not only the basics of football, the blocking and tackling, but more importantly, modern football, some of the things, but more importantly, handling the 21st century athlete at the same time. That's exactly what you guys just spoke about. Let's get to our next question now from @BrandonBush817. I just want to thank all three of you for the past few years. This show has been a staple of mine every Monday. This year, the show is especially needed to get me through the season. Coming from a lifelong Jags fan in New York, have a great offseason. Oh, yeah, and go Jets.
See, he's been listening all year, that guy. He heard me do that in, October?
Yeah.
And it worked. Look at Boselli shaking his head. You know what, though? The way they should, you won't have to do that for another 12 to 15 years. bare minimum.
No comment from Tony. Okay, next
No,
question.
so I hope we never have to do it again. I mean, this was mystical this year. Does anyone
Well,
agree with
maybe
that?
in 15 years when Trevor Lawrence is an old, broken down man, maybe.
Well, if he's like Tom Brady, he's going to play for like 25 years.
Yeah, we might be gone. I might be gone by then.
I wasn't going to say anything, but our next question at Eric E. Harrison. Caleb on Chason's improvements pressuring the quarterback have been noticeable and encouraging. How is he looking in the run game? It seems he, like Ngakoue, tries to elude the block rather than set the edge, and it's led to some issues. What do you see? Thanks for another great season, guys.
I mean, listen, he has gotten better. There's no doubt about it. But he's still an undersized defensive end, and I think you got to figure out what is his role and where does he fit moving forward. And the improvements he's made that's good. And remember, he didn't get an offseason. He's a young player. He's really playing a new position. When you think about it, he was more of a kind of stand-up, outside end linebacker position at LSU. Now he's handed the dirt type of guy, 4-3 defensive end. It's different. And so that takes time. So you got to be patient there. But I still question, is he a guy that you can play on first and second down? And if teams start running right at you, I think it's a problem.
I think he can play on first and second down if they're playing a different defense. This defense, he can't play on first and second down. He's not going to play on Tony. It's the old. You've seen this play out years and years and years. The smallest defensive end who can rush the passer gets run at and run at and run at. It can't happen anymore. I mean, look at as great as Simeon Rice was. Remember back in the day in Tampa, when people ran at them, they ran at him. You did it. You were part of it. He could rush the passer, but he was the old matador when it came to the run defense because he wasn't a big guy. And so I think it was a problem with Ngakoue, and it's a problem with Chason. If you stood him up and played him on one side and Allen on the other, and you had some big bodies playing the run in front of him, then I think he could handle that. I think he's more suited to that. Wouldn't you agree?
I mean, just by name. I mean, I think there's a lot of work. So, I mean, you need an off season with them.
I get it.
But I give him credit. He's worked hard. He's gotten better.
Next to Leonard Williams will help him next year.
Oh, wow!
That's a big body.
Calling it early.
That's a big boy.
Calling it early.
I'm calling that early. I've already fixed. Remember, I fixed the team 2 weeks ago.
So you're saying the Jets aren't going to sign Leonard Williams?
The Giants.
I mean, the Giants. Sorry, he was traded from the Jets to the Giants.
Well, overpay for him. Pay more money than they pay. Don't forget, you get about a what is it? 10% up there discount from the taxes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you don't think they'll franchise him?
No, they might. He's played that good this year.
Yeah, no, that's the problem. There's not a lot of guys that big who can do what he does.
Our next question from @Jags1185. How much of a priority is signing Chark to an extension this offseason, or do you let him play out his deal and then worry about it in 2022? Likely can get a better deal now with his down year, bad quarterback play aside, but the cap is down from normal seasons, which should make market value go down. What do you think?
I want to see him with Lawrence. Let's see where he takes his game with Lawrence. If he's what I think he can become with a really good quarterback, but I want to see it because I think it's there, but I want to see it. And I think we have other priorities in terms of paying in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, I think you go through free agency and the draft and you see where you're at, and maybe you start having conversations with him in the summer and see if you can get to a price tag that works for both sides.
Our next and final question is from @JohnGalt How important is having veterans on this team for this rebuild, especially with a young core's first time with a regime change? Is it worth overpaying some guys who provide that in the locker room? Love the show. Wish y'all could do a few shows in the offseason, even if only online.
Do I think that if you get the right veterans, look.
I mean, how many guys here now are sticking around? Is probably the big question.
I think they'll keep Linder and Norwell. I do. I think the left tackle's gone. I think he's a goodbye. And I think you keep the veterans on the inside. So there's 3 veterans on your offensive line. Now, is Linder a leader? I don't know that. I'm not around that locker room enough to know. Is he a good leader? I know he can be the media. Some guys think he can be standoffish at times, but is he a good leader in the locker room?
I haven't been in there for a long time. That's JP.
Yeah. JP,
I haven't been in there this year. I know he's been a captain the last 2-3 years, so for that, what that's worth.
Here's the problem. Who are the defensive leaders? I mean, you always have veteran offensive line. Norwell and Linder could be veteran leaders on the offense. Who are the leaders on defense? Miles Jack.
I think the only two guys that stand out right now would be Miles Jack and Joe Schobert.
Josh Allen, but he's only third year,
and he's been hurt all year. He really only played 1 year if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think look. I know you got a soft spot for Joe Schobert, but I don't. I just think that Miles Jack has to be the guy. Did you see Schobert on that one run?
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, I did, Pete. Unfortunately, I did.
Well, you saw Taylor more than he did.
But my point is, Schobert, he's going to be your middle linebacker next year. I don't see you have too many other places to fill. You're not going to go spend money and effort and draft capital on a middle linebacker.
And he might be better if you have big bodies around him.
That's right.
All right, there you have it. Social questions are done for the season. Thank you for the submissions all year, and you guys didn't answer about doing the online show to keep it going, but we can talk about that another.
We'll have to have some contract negotiations on that.
Yeah, for the right money, me and Boselli will do anything.
And it's on the internet. Anything goes, I guess.
Oh man.
We'll come back.
Then again, you fired us already, JP.
Oh, wow.
Sure, good point.
NFL playoff picture when we come back. The schedule ahead on Super Wildcard Weekend in the National Football League. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network. Jaguars fans, did you know that with Drizzly, you can get Tito's handmade vodka delivered to your door in under 60 minutes? Well, you can. And now they're giving all fans $10 off their first order. Use the code JAGS10 at checkout. Just download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com and make sure you're all set to mix it up with Tito's handmade vodka for the perfect game day. That's DRIZLY.com. And remember to use the special code JAGS10 to save $10 on your first order. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
The wait for the holidays is over, America. It's time to make some joy. And we're here to help with the Ford Built for the Holidays sales event. We're offering the best deals of the season across the Ford lineup, so you can road trip with the whole family comfortably in a Ford Expedition. Bring home a tree that's bigger than you ever have with a built Ford Tough F-150. And find new ways to make the holidays bright this year when you visit your local Ford dealer. The joy is up to you, America, so let's get to it. Ford, built for the holidays.
Hey, Jags fans, did you know you can ride your bike to every Jaguars home game at TIAA Bank Field and valet park it for free? That's right. Stop by our bicycle check-in tent, sponsored by Alert Today Florida, near Gate 1 at TIAA Bank Field. An on-duty ZenCog bike professional will park your bike and ensure it's secured during the game. When the game's over, return your claim ticket and pick up your bike. For cycling safety tips, visit alerttodayflorida.com. Remember, Alert Today, alive tomorrow, because safety doesn't happen by accident.
Jaguars fans, whether it's on the field or in your finances, the key to success is a solid plan. From high-yield banking to home lending, into retirement and beyond, TIAA Bank offers solutions that can help you achieve your goals and make the most of your money. It's time for a plan. Start building your legacy today at TIAABank.com/Jaguars. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, equal housing lender, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Kessler Creative, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, has the large format printing services running in high gear, creating large banners for marketing events, full vehicle wraps. Learn how Kessler changes the game with print and direct mail innovation. From eye-catching restaurant menus to real estate yard signs and event displays, Kessler does it all. Kessler Creative, Jacksonville, Florida. results-driven marketing, and a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars Happy Hour is presented in part by Dreamfinders Homes, homes that fit your lifestyle. Next Grill, everyone's invited. And Adecco. Visit AdeccoUSA.com.
Welcome back, Jaguars Happy Hour. It's January 4th. The 2020 season in the regular year is over. JP Shadrick, Pete Prisco, Tony Boselli. This is the final Monday Jaguars Happy Hour of this season. You keep saying I'm firing you guys. I don't have any authority to do that. We'll hopefully do a show next year if your agent will allow it, Pete.
Well, I figured, after you sent me the text the other day, I figured your dad called some people to try and get me fired since old man Shadrick doesn't think I'm funny.
Well, he's right. I mean, he knows funny, and you're not.
Well, if he doesn't think I'm funny, he doesn't know funny. Because your dad, we got to work on your dad. I mean, he must be drier than a piece of milk toast.
I agree with JP. I agree with your dad.
Yeah.
The only problem is you might try to agree with it, but every Monday, Boselli, I see you on camera biting your tongue and holding it because you don't want to get caught laughing at my stupidity. Just like right now.
No, I said funny, not I agree. You have plenty of stupidity.
There's a lot of that going around. Yeah.
No, my humor makes you laugh every Monday, and you just hold it in because you don't want to be accused of being guilty by association.
See, right there.
False.
He's kind of laughing, but he's not laughing.
So true. That is so true. But look, I can take it from Boselli. I can take it from JP, but he texts me and tells me, "Oh man, Shadrick's ripping me."
That's right. That's right. He listens.
What? You know what, JP? My dad's gonna beat up your dad.
I doubt that highly as well. Let's go around the NFL playoffs.
Angelo Prisco, the mobster.
Hey, NFL Super Wildcard Weekend. Triple headers Saturday and Sunday. Let's start with the AFC number 7 seed Colts, who snuck into the playoffs, and they'll face the number 2 seed Buffalo Bills 1 o'clock on Saturday, Pete, and this should be an interesting game.
If Laviska Shenault looked like he looked against that Colts defense, I can't wait to see what Diggs looked like. I mean, my God.
Oh, my.
That Buffalo offense is explosive. Josh Allen's playing great football. I don't see the Colts winning that game. The one thing, though, Buffalo has trouble stopping the run. Do you think they can keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands? I love that whole idea. I always do. But once you look up and it's 14-0, and that kind of goes out the window in a lot of situations.
Yeah, as soon as you're down big or a couple scores, you're hold on to the ball and slow the game down. Doesn't work as well. I just get a sense it's going to be closer than anyone.
Yeah, they'll win by a touchdown.
I think it's going to be tight. Don't count the Colts. I'm definitely leaning towards the Bills. There's no doubt about that. But the Colts, they got that good defense, and they're a little bit leaky in the secondary. They've had some injuries back there. But if they can get after Josh Allen, rush the passer, and you have one of those days where the front four dominates, watch out. I think it's an interesting game.
But people haven't got after. That's the amazing thing is people aren't getting after Josh Allen, and when they do, he moves.
No, he's playing his. Is there a quarterback playing better than him right now? Not named Aaron Rodgers.
No, he's playing the second best.
Pete called it. The second game on Saturday, the NFC number 6 seed Rams and the 3 seed Seahawks in Seattle. What do you think?
Now this one's going to be closer than people think. This will be the third time they've played. The Rams won the first time. The Rams gagged away the second one, and Goff hurt his thumb in that game, remember? But he threw an interception. I still don't know what he was looking at. They were driving to take a 7-point lead in the second quarter. And they know him, and that defense is good enough to contain Russell Wilson. So I think this one will be close. I think Seattle will win it, but it'll be close.
Is Goff going to be able to play though, Pete?
They'll scheme up some stuff to get there. That kid, though, John Wolford, who's from Jacksonville, by the way.
Bishop Kenny, right across the river.
Kenny kid.
Yeah, he did some good things in that game.
No, he did. He played fine. I just don't think they win without Goff. I'll go Seattle.
I think Seattle will win the game, but it's going to be tight, though. That defense is pretty darn good. Yeah.
Division rivals. It'll be a tight game.
They went full Duval at quarterback last week. Wolford and Blake Bortles was the backup. They signed him as well. NFC number 5 seed Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers, and the number 4 seed Washington football team.
By the way, JP, I don't think Duval claims Bortles.
I think they do now. I think there's a portion of the fan base that liked Blake.
No, I like Blake, but come on, a lot of the fan base, Duval's not claiming Blake Bortles. They'll claim John Wolford. He went to high school there, but they're not.
It's hard to argue with Pete, JP.
Tampa Bay, Washington.
Again, what is Tom Brady's kryptonite over the years?
Rushing the passer, and they have 4 guys who can get after you. Montez Sweat, Payne,
Allen,
and
Chase.
Chase.
Let's not forget
Chase Young.
The 5th guy that comes in is Kerrigan. He can rush the passer.
Yeah, I mean they can rush the passer. I mean, I think this is a closer game than anyone
Me too.
realizes.
Me too.
I mean, I think ultimately Tampa wins, but this could be one of those games you go, uh-oh. And by the way, the last 2 times the 7-9 team made the playoffs. Guess what? They both won their opening game.
Beastquake was a 7-9 team. Seattle, remember? They were a 7-9 team. And I do think if Mike Evans is not there, that changes the dynamic of that offense a little bit as well. So yeah, I think it's going to be close. I think Tampa will pull a really close one out.
Let's move to Sunday and a couple of AFC games starting at 1:05 Eastern. The 5 seed Ravens and the 4 seed Tennessee Titans. Interesting.
I don't think this is who the Titans wanted to play.
I think there's going to be 5,000 yards of rushing on the game.
Fastest game of the year.
The game will be over. We said that a couple of weeks ago when Cleveland played Tennessee. The game will be over in 2 hours and 30 minutes. It was one of the highest scoring games of the year. So, but I'm with you, Tony. I think that both teams want to run the ball and run the ball and run the ball. It's a question who stops who, and there's a little bit of revenge here. Remember what happened last year in Baltimore? They knocked him out. I think the Ravens win the game. I think the Ravens have righted a lot of their problems. I think they'll find a way to win this game.
I think the Ravens win too. I just don't think you win in the playoffs when you're that bad on defense, and the Titans are just terrible on defense.
Oh my God, it's just so bad. They score late, and you just sit there and you go, okay, here goes Deshaun Watson. He's going to get the tying field goal no matter what. I mean, they're awful on defense.
In the NFC, the middle game on Sunday at 4:40, the 7 seed Bears and the number 2 seed Saints.
Is Alvin Kamara going to play? That's big for them. But
it's on Sunday. That should help, right?
Yeah, but again, I don't know. Something tells me this game might be a little sticky too.
What?
Don't you think, Tony? I don't know why, but I do.
Yeah, the Bears defense, and I don't think Drew Brees has been great this year.
No.
I think this is it for Drew Brees too. I think this is his last year. I don't think
he said it. He said it. There's a report. He's done. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's done. But I mean, that's been a lot of speculation for the entire year. It's starting to get more legs. Yeah, I think both have good defenses, so call that a wash. I'm assuming Alvin Kamara plays, and then you go down to which quarterback are you going to trust more, Drew Brees or Mitchell Trubisky?
Well, you'll trust Brees.
Yeah, I'll go with the Saints.
But it might not be as. It might be closer. That might be another one where it's closer than you think.
Oh, I think it's a tight game. You don't have to convince me of that.
And then the nightcap on Sunday, 8:15 Sunday night start for the 6 seed Cleveland Browns and the 3 seed Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC wildcard game. Tony Boselli will have the call on Westwood One.
Yeah, he can't pick the game because he has.
He's a
media member.
I've never understood that, but
it's like, why can't Brady Quinn does that with me all the time? I have the call. I go, so what? You make a pick. Who cares?
No one cares. By the way, no one cares that you have the call.
Right, and no one cares who your pick is. Who you picking though? By the way,
right? Come on, Tony.
I'm going to go with the Steelers because that defense is good. I mean, they almost beat them without Ben Roethlisberger and a bunch of players.
T.J. Watt didn't play.
Yeah. I think the Steelers win.
I agree. I think they win. This might be one where they win easily too. I think they might pull away from them. I think the history is awful in this series for Cleveland, and I just think this is a tough matchup for them. So I'm with you. I think the Steelers win this one. 10 points. They win by 10.
Was that just a blip for the Steelers at the end of the season where they had lost those games and couldn't do much on offense?
Yeah, but this Browns team lost to the Jets a couple weeks ago, and they didn't have the wide receivers. But no, I think they win by 10. Okay, but here's the question for the playoffs. Somebody little run that you're not expecting. It happens every year. Last year it was the Titans. The Jaguars did it a couple years ago. You guys did it in '96. I mean, every year there's one team that makes a run. Who's the team that makes the run?
You know, I think. Well, I mean, I guess people are expecting it, but I would say Buffalo, but they're the number 2 seed. That's probably not fair.
Anybody from 3 down?
How about Washington? You said Washington could beat Tampa.
No,
they can't. They're not good enough on offense to make a run.
Tampa might make a run because they get by Washington. The rest of the,
well, then they got to go to Green Bay.
Yeah, but I think they can make a run there.
They beat them already once this year.
Yeah.
I just can't see Tom Brady in the freezing cold against with a night game. Maybe how he's done at nighttime. I think Baltimore can make a run.
I think they can get.
I'm going to go Tampa in the NFC, and I'm going to go Baltimore in the end.
Remember, Pete, there was some weeks ago we talked about Baltimore was having all those COVID issues, everything was happening. You said at that point, I think, and I'm not going to quote you, I'm going to get close. Baltimore could get right. They'll have COVID. They'll be healthy. They'll be ready for the stretch run in the playoffs. And here we go.
Nobody wanted them in, JP.
Right.
They were. I mean, nobody wanted to see them in. You would clearly have rather had Miami in than Baltimore. I don't think there's any question about that. So
that's a big stretch. That's a real strong comment there.
Well, I mean, they were fighting for one of the final spots. Tony, it was close. Baltimore got right at the right time.
But you saying everyone wanted Miami over Baltimore? No kidding. Miami is like, first of all, that's a whole story we got to talk about at some point. I don't know if we'll have time today, Pete. But Tua, I've been following you on Twitter. That's what I mean. You can't bury him this early. I mean, because people buried Josh Allen. They were wrong about that. But
Josh Allen wasn't 5'11" throwing passes into the defensive line, tipping him every 2 seconds either. He was just erratic at times. You could see the arm. Tua doesn't ever throw to the right side of the field. He doesn't throw guys open. You know what he is? He's a left-handed Minshew.
Oh my!
Look at Boselli's face.
Well, I mean, this is I never would have taken him. I never understood the pick. I never understood the infatuation with him. I thought he was a great college player. I didn't see it translated into the pros. I could be wrong. You got to give him time, but. I mean, so far the early returns, I think people in Miami are going, can we get Herbert? Like we picked first.
If you had to grade him his early returns, and granted, he did not have an off season. His receivers have dropped passes, they've had injuries. But if you had to grade him right now for the season, what would you give him?
C.
Ooh, you're a good grade. I wish I was in your that's the USC classes.
No, I'm taking everything into consideration. Pete, I'm taking everything into consideration. No offseason, coming off a major injury, rookie, COVID, all the things I'm putting together, I give him a C.
What do you give Herbert?
An A.
Plus.
Yes. Like the highest grade you can.
Yeah. You would have taken him over Tua.
Yes. And I said that before.
Yeah, it goes back to and all the Miami fans are giving me crap on Twitter, like you said. What do your eyes see? I mean, you can talk all you want. One is not like the other. Okay? It's just
but Pete, I said that with him coming out of college. You just watch him. It's just like he just doesn't there's nothing about him that says he does this. Tell me one thing he does great.
He plays better when he's on the move. I'll be honest with you. I think
Pete, you missed my point. Tell me.
He doesn't do it.
It's not
he doesn't have a big arm.
It's not like he has a big arm. It's not he's fast.
It's not he anticipates. He doesn't
Yeah,
anticipate. He doesn't go through his progressions. Yeah.
But to your point, like even when like Josh Allen was not very good early and the accuracy was a big issue, he had a rocket arm. He was 6'5". He could run.
Move.
Yeah, I mean, like you look at like Kyle. I'm not a big Kyler Murray fan. I think he's short. He's small. That's okay. But Kyler Murray, rocket right arm, could run like the wind, playmaker. Like I get the upside with Kyler Murray. Like,
Miami has concerns.
I am lost with Tua. I never understood him coming out of Alabama. Like what outside of throwing to wide open people at Alabama, what trait does he have that you just go, wow?
Right. He was throwing to Judy, Devontae Smith, Ruggs, and Waddle. I mean, my God.
It's not bad.
Right?
And they had a running game, too. By the way, hey, have you tweeted that yet, that he's a left-handed Minshew?
No, I have not.
I might tweet it for you here in a second if you'd like.
It's too early to do that. I'm joking.
You just said it on the show.
Yeah, but he just reminds me a lot of the way he plays that way. He's far less herky-jerky in the pocket.
He's not doing the ball thing and holding.
So, Pete, if you're Miami, you're drafted third.
I'm considering it.
You take Zach Wilson if he's there?
I would consider it.
Hey, let's come back. One final segment for this show, for this season. Our final thoughts after a long 2020 campaign, and it's on to 2021 on Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network. Jaguars fans, did you know that with Drizzly, you can get Tito's handmade vodka delivered to your door in under 60 minutes? Well, you can. And now they're giving all fans $10 off their first order. Use the code JAGS10 at checkout. Just download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com and make sure you're all set to mix it up with Tito's handmade vodka for the perfect game day. That's DRIZLY.com. And remember to use the special code JAGS10 to save $10 on your first order. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
The best thing about working at Fair & Farah is all of the employees. We all work together. It's extremely enjoyable to come to work every day.
There's a common cause or goal. No matter what your job is, we're all there for the client.
We are dedicated to our clients 100%. We do everything it takes to maximize the value of their claims.
Fair & Farah is really the Farah family. When they choose us, they choose a family to fight for them and to protect them and to make sure that they're in a good place and that they have somebody on their side.
Farah & Farah, here for you, here for good. Jacksonville.
Kessler Creative, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, has the large format printing services running in high gear, creating large banners for marketing events, full vehicle wraps. Learn how Kessler changes the game with print and direct mail innovation. From eye-catching restaurant menus to real estate yard signs and event displays, Kessler does it all. Kessler Creative, Jacksonville, Florida. Results-driven marketing and a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Proven IT implements a strategic game plan designed to streamline your business for maximum results. Make the winning choice with the official business systems partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Proven IT. Proven IT's technology experts use a customized approach to understand how to design, implement, and monitor solutions that optimize your business. Proven IT provides managed network services, document management solutions, office technology, voice and data solutions, and more. Visit ProvenIT.com to see how they can streamline your business. Proven IT, transforming workplace productivity.
At ViStar, we believe in better, especially in helping build a better financial future for our members. So we've reviewed our offerings from the ground up. We've lowered or eliminated over half our fees and enhanced our already competitive rates, saving members more than $1 million this year, in addition to the millions we save them every year. If you believe that saving money is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
Headquartered right here in Jacksonville, the CSI Companies is one of the fastest growing staffing firms in the nation. As a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI knows how important it is to find the right people for your team. See why some of Jacksonville's top companies choose CSI for their staffing needs. Visit thecsicompanies.com or call 800-582-0828 today. That's 800-582-0828 for the CSI Companies. We're back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour for a final 5 minutes or so in the 2020 season. JP Shadrick, Pete Prisco, Tony Boselli. This is our final Monday program of the season, unless we can get to Tony and Pete's agents and figure it out. But I have a feeling those guys will not answer the phone.
Well, they would answer.
It might not last long. But this is a fun show. Obviously, this is obviously a fun day to recap what happened on Sunday. But unfortunately, this year for the Jaguars, most Sundays were not happy Sundays. 15 in a row, in fact, to end the regular season at 1-15. But Pete, as you noted throughout the season, it was all worth it in the end. The Jaguars have the number 1 overall pick. We'll find out if it's all worth it, obviously, in a few years. But
it will be worth it. It will be worth it, JP.
But that was the goal, at least for you, was to get that pick. The Jaguars did that, and I don't want to go through this ever again. It was horrible.
I will say this. There were days in early November when we come in here, and it would be the same show every Monday.
Every single week.
Yeah, that wasn't fun.
But we did have fun with it, and we found a way to start looking ahead to the draft, which Boselli always hates. And it worked out that they ended up with the number 1 overall pick. And this might be the biggest off season in terms of optimism that this franchise has had in, 20 years?
Yeah. I mean, it's as much excitement since I can remember.
Since 99, there was still excitement after the loss of the Super Bowl. It waned quickly the following year, but there was. And now this is that same type of optimism. I bet people are calling about buying tickets already. Trevor Lawrence will have a number 16 jersey probably, and it will be a top seller. And now you got to get the right guy to lead the team. And that's why I think the optimism is warranted in that city. It's finally going to have a franchise quarterback that they drafted and developed.
It's been a long time. You can argue it hasn't never happened around here.
It's never happened.
Yeah.
Mark was acquired in a trade. They've
true.
never drafted and developed a quarterback who's a franchise quarterback, ever.
So,
and how many teams can say that?
Not many. Not many. But now, of course, there is a bright future with that, and the head coach and GM hirings are on deck. We'll see what happens in the next few days, week or two, depending on the timing. But the wheels are in motion, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, here we go. I mean, we'll find out a lot. I mean, it's going to be a whole different world here in the next 30 days. I mean, it could happen as fast as next week if they go through it and they find their guy, and it could be done. Or it could take through the Super Bowl. We've seen teams name their coach after the Super Bowl. And so it could be, and once we find that out, then you really find out the direction of this franchise from the standpoint of who you're going to be. Because obviously the owner is a critical piece of it. It's Shad's team. He's the owner. He's the ultimate leader of the organization. But really the culture in that building on the football side will be dictated by the head coach and the GM. Who you are, what kind of players you're going to get, what the standard is, the direction, the philosophy, all those things. Right now, we don't have one. If you think about it, it's a blank sheet of paper, and whoever comes in, they're going to be dictating that. And I know all of us and all the fans are kind of sitting back and waiting to see what direction we go.
Follow whoever does get the job. Follow my plan. You will have success. Follow my plan. Leonard Williams, Trey Hendrickson, Rondell Moore, a tight end, left tackle, and draft well with the rest of those positions. You will have a successful football team.
It's that simple. And by the way, final thought here. The NFL got through 256 regular season games this year. They got them all in.
It's a tribute to A, the league, B, the owners who spent a lot of money to safeguard those facilities and make everything work. And first and foremost, the players. The players bought in, and they deserve a lot of credit as well.
It's remarkable. If we were honest with each other, when we kicked this show off at the beginning of the year, did any of us think we'd get every game in 17 weeks? I did not. I thought we'd get them in ultimately, but I thought you'd have 18, 19, 20 weeks. The Super Bowl be pushed back. It's unreal.
And one of the great things that's come out of this, we might see Tuesday and Wednesday football going forward.
Oh, boy. Look out. Schedule disruptions ahead. It sounds like. Hey, it's been a pleasure again, guys. Tony, Pete, we'll talk to you down the line here in the offseason, guys. Have a good one.
All right, guys. Always have fun. Happy New Year.
All right, same.
Tony Boselli, Pete Prisco out of here. Our thanks to Joe Fortunato, not with us right now. He'll be back very soon. Brent Reber, Trent Padilla, Max Hockman, our entire Jaguars Digital crew. I'm JP Shadrick. Thank you for listening and watching each Monday. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.